God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaur statues. Mr. X buys a ton of dinosaur statues. Mr. X sells all the dinosaur statues. Mr. X receives one final dinosaur statue. Mr. X breaks the dinosaur statue while putting him together. Now what Mr. X gonna do? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Before we get started, as a reminder, I will be at the 2022 ROC Toy Hunt in Rochester, New York, December 3rd and 4th. Make sure to check out the link in the description below for the info. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X. Today we are looking at Prime 1 Studios' Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. If you caught it in the intro, I used to own a whole bunch of Jurassic Park statues, mostly from Prime 1 Studio. But I recently made some life changes and I ended up selling them all, but I still had this one on PO or pre-order for a number of years. So now that he's in the collection, I decided, you know what, let's pull him out, let's put him together and review him for you guys, then I'll resell him. However, as I said, that was kind of a mistake because he broke with a pretty common flaw that's on most of these statues. We're going to talk about that, and while I'm bummed, we're still going to do a review. I do like this guy quite a bit, other than some design issues we're going to talk about. But I can't keep him because he is just kind of a standalone piece, although he would be a really badass standalone piece because he was kind of like the ultimate. You know, this is from Jurassic World where they merged a T-Rex and a Velociraptor together. So this is a huge dinosaur. They made this in 1/15th scale, so this would be 15 times larger in real life. And it's still a pretty damn big statue, as you see. Not only was this a real nasty and carnal creature, but it actually had a lot of thought process and could solve problems, including some stuff like it had invisibility. Yes, he had invisibility in the movie. An oversimplification, but kind of true. And he was incredibly badass. I love Jurassic World. I thought it was a fantastic movie. Nowhere near as good as the original Jurassic Park, of course. He tore everything up until the very end when the Mosasaurus just took him out like he was nothing. But let's talk about this guy. In case you want to see my pretty mug, I'm going to keep it right here. And we're going to kick it off starting with concept. Now what I love that Prime 1 Studio has done is they've matched all the bases on these. You have kind of a museum tiered base. This black matte finish. And I think this is one of the few times I think it's acceptable for a nameplate. They not only put the name of the dinosaur, but the movie that he's from and the logo of that above. And in between, you're going to see all these fossilized bones in between the tiers of the museum base. So like I said, since they all match, I think that's pretty cool they did that. On the actual base itself, assumably the island forest where he was. There's some rocks and plants. But on this one, what's incredible is you not only get one dinosaur, you get two. I believe that's an Ankylosaurus, if I recall correctly. And he has killed it. And those are very, very difficult creatures to kill because of the armored shell on the back. So again, it just shows the ferociousness of the Indominus Rex. And he is right above him. His huge claws are right by the huge slash that you see on the Ankylosaurus. And he is standing above it, roaring. I absolutely love that. He's roaring in victory. You see his entire length of his body. His tail's curled out, which just makes this an absolutely huge piece, which I really wish I had the rest of my dinosaur pieces. I was going to put him facing off against the original Tyrannosaurus Rex they made. This right here, they would have been facing perfectly against each other. That was my original plan. But obviously I can't do that anymore. But it's still cool to see him in person without a doubt. I think the concept's great. I give it a 5 out of 5 because I love what they did with the bases. I like that they added a fallen dinosaur on this one, so that is pretty cool. Design is where some of the problems came in. So one big problem to start with is the displayability. This is so big.
So she said.
This is almost 40 inches wide, about 13 inches deep, and the tallest part is probably his snout up here, just under 18.5 inches. For exact dimensions, go to Comic Concepts website. That's where I picked this guy up. They're a fantastic retailer. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them later. Now, I didn't do the assembly on camera, which I really wish I had because that's when the breakage occurred. But here are the boxes. Giant, heavy boxes. Funny thing is the bigger one was actually pretty light. The smaller one was the heavier one because the smaller one actually had the base in it. You can see it right here. That's all that was in this box. In the other box, the dinosaur, a finger, 2 plants, and some extra spikes we'll talk about. So like I said, it was crazy. The base is heavy. Everything else is very light, only a few pieces. Now, when I was setting him in, this right foot, the only foot that really keys in, the front toe broke off right here. Now the nice thing is this is a very clean break, and Mrs. X will easily be able to fix this where you can't tell. However, what I worry about is I will end up selling this. Whoever gets this, it may break off while they're doing that again. Now on top of that, even with the broken toe, this foot doesn't sit flush. This was a very, very common problem with this statue. And unfortunately, the statue is kind of rare, so you can't really get a replacement. And like I said, the fix will be easy enough. But if you're looking down here, you definitely see that. Another big issue is the way they did the left hand. So right here, there is a horrible seam line where they put the thumb. And they did this for assembly purposes because it's supposed to be around the Ankylosaurus. And if they kept it intact as one piece, when you're inserting it, you would probably have a break issue. However, that seam is really bad. Thankfully, you can't see it too easy, but another negative. Now, these quills that he has on the back, the nice thing about these is they're a little bit pliable plastic. And not only that, but they gave you a bunch of replacements just in case. So I think that was a little smart. Give them a little props for that. Now, this is all you get. There were 2 different versions. We're going to talk more about that in value. And this version didn't come with anything else, although the other version did. So design, I have to give it a 2 out of 5 because I know it was a common problem. Even with the toe breaking off, it still won't sit flush. So what does that tell you? Paint and sculpt, they do a great job on these dinosaurs. This one is not an exception at all. This is so cool. I remember when I saw Jurassic Park for the first time. I actually saw it at Mall of America. If you don't know what that is, it's, I think, the country's largest mall. It's huge. But I remember seeing it, seeing dinosaurs really come to life. But this is even more so because it's a 3-dimensional model in my home. And like I said, as usual, Prime 1 Studio killed the paint and sculpt. Take a look. Now, when it comes to the paint and sculpt, these lights make this look a little bit lighter than it is. And not only that, but the dinosaurs are what really shine, not necessarily the base. Not that the base is bad. So on the base, you see the black matte museum style. It's fine. The Jurassic World symbol actually looks a little bit crooked, but it might just be me. But I do like that, how it's protruding out, and it's kind of this different color than just the standard nameplate for Indominus Rex. Just like all the other ones, if you've seen my other videos, the bones look great. These fossilized bones with kind of this yellowing brown color to them. And again, they're protruding out, kind of a 3-dimensional aspect to them. The base, the plants are a mix of sculpt and mixed media. So actually plastic material that they use, where like this is actual sculpt. Same thing, obviously, this is all sculpt down here. So what I do like is I like the different colors they used on the plants. It really makes it stand out a little bit more. But I don't like mixing mixed media and sculpt when it comes to plants. I've talked about this in their dinosaur statues before, but they always seem to do it. The rocks look okay. They could have used a little bit more texture, I think. And there's a lot of gray in this. Granted, it's different shades of gray, and they're appearing a little bit lighter. These are a little bit darker without the spotlights on them. So an overabundance of gray, so they should have mixed that up with maybe some browns. The mud looks fine. I think they could have added like kind of a glistening effect, a moist effect to the mud to improve it. But let's look at the Ankylosaurus. So his portrait looks okay, but his body looks fantastic. His armored back with the spikes coming out on the sides. And I love this like tortoise shell-like texture. And then the underside, so obviously he's a dinosaur, so it has reptilian-like skin. The slash marks look fantastic. A little bit of a glistening blood effect. His club tail down here looks really, really good. And they did a great job on the Rex as well. So again, very scaly skin. You can see it right here. Individual almost nodules throughout the whole thing. The spikes on the back leading to the top with a little bit of like reddish brown, which I think it creates a nice variation in the statue. We'll get to the portrait last. The nails look great. They did a really nice job with them. And then the quills as well. Very movie accurate. I'm a big fan of them. Now the underside is a lighter color, as it typically is with most like reptilian and dinosaur creatures. So I like that they did that, even though that's kind of hard to see. But yeah, they just did a fantastic job with the Indoraptor himself. Look at kind of those ridges on his back here. How the armored plates are on top of each other. But then his portrait, what we're here to see. So again, kind of a mix between, not kind of, it is a mix between a T-Rex and a Velociraptor. So kind of has those raptor-like eyes, looks good. He has a few battle damage marks. I like that. Even some red blood. Smaller teeth, but he did in the movie as well. They did a great job with the glistening effect on the tongue and the inner parts of the mouth and the different reds and pinks they used just to really bring out that roar. I like that a lot. So again, Dinosaur's phenomenal. Base, good, okay, but not amazing. But that doesn't include the Ankylosaurus. Like I said, other than his portrait, I think he looks fantastic. As usual, really good job on the paint and sculpt. So again, focusing more on the dinosaurs than the base, I think for the paint, it's a solid 4 out of 5. If there had been more variances, maybe I could have scored it a little bit higher. However, I think they killed the sculpt on the dinosaurs. Ignoring some of the base stuff, I give the sculpt a 5 out of 5 on the dinosaur. Looks just like the movie. They did an awesome, awesome job. This guy is pretty rare, like I said. They made 400 of these total. 100 were the bonus exclusive version, which I do not have. And then the other 300 were the ones that I have right here. Now, the only difference between those is the 100 bonus exclusive had this cane, this little prop right here. Obviously doesn't go with the statue, but it's a nice little Easter egg. So if you're just trying to collect the statue, that's not necessary. But it is a cool bonus. Now, these retailed for $1,200, $11.99. I picked mine up from Comic Concepts. They're long sold out, unfortunately, because Comic Concepts does great deals. Usually you can get it a little bit cheaper than retail, and their shipping is some of the best in the business, not to mention fantastic communication. So is this worth it for $1,200? You know, pretty low edition size. This is a big mamma jamma, not only physically, but like I said, it's a big character in the Jurassic world. Not only the movie, but just in general. It's the one that actually took down the T-Rex. And I really enjoyed this dinosaur as well. So I think the value's definitely there. Now, broken piece aside, I would say the value is a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Definitely very cool. Now with that, I'm going to sell him at retail plus shipping to the continental US. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and email me at mrx@theextremechannel.com. Again, Mrs. X will fix the toe on front here, but just be very careful putting it on. Keep in mind, shipping will be a lot because it was those 2 huge boxes. Now, does this have the X factor? That's how impressive is this overall. I think this does have the X factor. I think it's a 5 out of 5 statue for sure. Like I said, you get 2 dinosaurs, one of the big kings in the Jurassic World series. That is so awesome. He's roaring. It would look amazing against that T-Rex. This gives me #regret that I got rid of my Jurassic Park statues. But it would be a bitch to try and collect them all back. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. So thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Please drop me a like, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I have nothing else for you. You know why? Because it's really early in the morning I'm filming this, and I'm really hungover. Members know that.